Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to walk through the updates introduced by House Bill 247 to the Underground Utility Safety and Damage Prevention Act that goes into effect October 1. You'll find a QR code on your screen that links directly to the law page on nc811.org. There you'll see the current law that's valid through September and the updated law effective October 1st, 2025. There's a reference guide comparing the old and the new provisions. There's also a full-length video of this presentation that you can watch at your leisure. And if you have any questions about any part of the law, you can fill out our law FAQ form, and one of our liaisons will provide you with clarification on any of your concerns. Let's begin with an overview of the key changes we're going to be covering. We're going to look at definitions, facility operator responsibilities, excavator responsibilities, exemptions, damage claims, facility location absence, and updates to the Underground Damage Prevention Review Board. Starting with definitions. Non-mechanized equipment was previously defined as hand tools. Now, soft dig technologies, which use air or water pressure with vacuum extraction, are also considered non-mechanized. Next, the tolerance zone definition has been clarified. It now explicitly refers to the horizontal distance, half of the known diameter of the facility plus 24 inches on either side of the center line. Facility operator responsibilities. Operators must use APWA uniform color codes when marking. A new requirement states that painted marks should be long enough to distinguish them from dots. Also, written agreements now include electronically transmitted formats such as email, text, or fax. Operators must mark facilities 3 full working days before the excavator's work start date. For emergency requests, operators must make initial contact within 3 hours. And if a facility is unmarked, operators must respond within 3 hours of receiving the additional notice. Excavator responsibilities. Excavators must give notice no less than 3 full working days before the work start date. For underwater facilities, the notice period is no less than 10 to 20 working days. Tickets now expire 28 calendar days after the work start date, up from the previous 15 working days in the law that is now. Tickets should only cover areas that can be reasonably completed within that 28-day window. Don't update tickets for areas that are already completed. When working near transmission pipelines, excavators must use non-mechanized equipment within 24 inches of the pipeline. Also, the tolerance zone of the pipeline system, the excavator shall use safe excavation practices, including but not limited to hand digging or potholing. Here we see an example of the life of a ticket. In this example, the excavator contacted 811 on the 1st. During the call or while creating the RTE or SAT ticket, the work start date is noted on the ticket. 3 full working days prior to the work start date, locators will be dispatched to mark your excavation area. The life of the ticket begins on the work start date, and you are cleared to dig up to 28 calendar days. Weekends and holidays can affect the locate process, and here are some examples. In Graph 1, you see that when the locate would be performed if the start date landed on a Wednesday. The locate would begin on Friday and continue through Tuesday. In Graph 2, you see what would happen if a holiday landed on a Friday during the locate process. In order to extend the life of your ticket past the 28 calendar days, you will need to submit a subsequent notice 3 full working days prior to the expiration date of your location request. In this example, you need to provide your update no later than day 25 of your ticket. Locators will have day 26, 27, and 28 to update the locate request. When you submit your subsequent notice, do not include any areas of your excavation that have already been completed. After 11:59 p.m. on day 28, your ticket will begin again, giving you another 28 calendar days for excavation to take place. Holidays and weekends can affect the update process as well. Here are some examples. In graph 1, we see that the 28th day of the ticket lands on a Wednesday. Since the update must be made on a working day, the ticket is updated on the 23rd day of the ticket, giving the locators 3 full working days to respond to the update: the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th days of the ticket. In graph 2, a holiday lands on a Friday, so the update must now be made no later than the 22nd day of the ticket. NC 811 will be transitioning to a new ticket entry system called Center Logics, and effective October 1st, coinciding with changes to the law. This marks our move away from the current Newton system. Please note that Newton and Center Logic are entirely separate platforms and do not share data or communicate with one another. If you submit a ticket in Newton during the last 15 working days of September and it requires an update after October 1st, you will need to create a new ticket in Center Logic. A reminder of this requirement will be included in the remarks section of your original ticket. We appreciate your attention to this important change and encourage you to plan accordingly to ensure a smooth transition. Exemptions. An excavation or demolition that involves the tilling of soil or agricultural or gardening purposes that encroaches on any operator's right-of-way, easement, or permitted use and is less than 12 inches in depth. An excavation by any operator, surveyor, or their contractor with non-mechanized equipment for locating for a valid notification request or for the minor repair, connection, or routine maintenance of an existing facility or survey pin, or probing underground to determine the extent of gas or water migration. Other exemptions are an excavation or demolition performed for the purpose of maintenance activities within the right-of-way. The provisions of this subdivision do not apply when the excavation or demolition is performed by a contractor acting on behalf of a person or entity responsible for the routine maintenance of a right-of-way. Damage claims. Claims must now be adjudicated in North Carolina in the county where the incident occurred. In this section, 87-128, additional language has been added. So long as the excavator has exercised due care in preparing for or conducting the excavation, for the purposes of this section, the excavator shall be entitled to a presumption. The law assumes something in favor of the excavator. Rebuttal by clear and convincing evidence that is exercised due care in preparing for and conducting the excavation. Therefore, the excavator must comply with 87-122, Excavator Responsibilities section. The notification center gives the operator the notice. The operator fails to respond to that notice as provided in GS 87-121 or fails to properly locate the facility. The excavator has complied with the requirements of GS 87-122. The excavator did not have the actual knowledge of the existence of a facility located within the area of the excavation to be performed. Changes to the Underground Damage Prevention Review Board. A new addition requiring the governor to fill board vacancies within 60 days. No time requirement in the current law. Quorum will be met with majority seated and allows members to attend meetings via conference call or other electronic means, such as Teams meetings. The board shall establish an internal attendance policy. In the event a board member resigns or fails to meet the criteria of the attendance policy, the board may appoint an interim member to represent the same stakeholder group until such time the governor appoints a replacement for the remainder of the unexpired term. On request of the board, the Utilities Commission shall appoint a non-voting ex officio member as an administrative representative to provide counsel and coordinate efforts of the board. The board will now have 15 working days to contact persons of the alleged violation. This is extended from the current 10 working days. The board will be required to notify the violator of the board's determination within 30 days. There was no time period in the current law. And after the board's determination, the person deemed to be in violation can request an informal conference within 30 days of the determination. They must attend in person, can be represented by an attorney or other person, and present evidence and make arguments in favor of the person's position. Utilities Commission will be required to report annually a report of fines or penalties imposed. If the penalty is not paid, the Utilities Commission can request Attorney General bring action in the name of the state of North Carolina to recover the penalty. Finally, a reference guide is available at all local UCC meetings and online. It includes a side-by-side comparison of the current law versus the new law and the statute references for easy lookup. Thank you very much for your attention. You'll find this QR code on your screen that links directly to the law page on nc811.org. There you can download the law reference guide comparing the old and new provisions. You'll also have a full-length video of this presentation that you can watch. And if you have any questions about any part of the law, you can fill out our Law FAQ form, and one of our liaisons will provide you with clarification on any of your concerns. Let's continue working together to ensure safe and compliant excavation practices. Thank you.